Well, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 759 of the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show as I sit down with Danielle Graves. She is the best-selling author of The Six-Figure Quitter and the founder of the Aramint Group. Danielle is a former FBI analyst turned serial entrepreneur, and she is spilling the tea with us today, sharing her powerful journey from leaving corporate America to become a business strategist and leadership coach. But before we get right into that, we're going to go ahead and get our intro started, and we will be right back. You're listening to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.
Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Sharvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Sharvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting live from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard and seen all across the World Wide Web. We certainly appreciate those that are checking out our live video broadcast from places across the world, Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube or Twitch, and certainly Instagram. We appreciate having you in the audience, and those that check out the podcast version. Listen, Apple Podcasts, or you might be on Amazon Music, Spotify, anywhere that you're checking us out. Thank you so much. And then some of you are like, Sharvette, I just hang out at sharvette.com. That's the easiest place for me, where we are glad to have you here, episode 759, which is brought to you by and sponsored by my ninth in-person event that's coming up here in Richmond, Virginia, November 7th and November 8th. That's a Friday and Saturday. It is for entrepreneurs who are wanting to work on and focus on their marketing, their branding, their visibility, and their business development. It's going down at the Platform Builder Summit VIP experience. So jump over to platformbuildersummit.com, platformbuildersummit.com. You can find out more information there, or wherever you are watching, just look down below in the show notes, and the link is there. All right, so we want to jump right on in. Thank you. Shout out to my cousin over on YouTube, getting the YouTube fire going over there. Hey, Roberto, we're glad to see you. Hey, we're glad to see you also, Carla R. Jenkins. Thank you so much over on Twitter. So listen, I want to jump right on in. Our guest is in the virtual green room. And so I know that there are a lot of you that are interested in this topic, and you've been itching and saying, man, there's something about this 9-to-5 life. I'm ready to transition. I'm ready to do something else. Might be some of you who you're being forced to go in another direction. This is the show and episode for you. So, known socially as Danielle The Coach, she is the founder and CEO of the Aramint Group, which is a leadership coaching and consulting firm. And she's also the best-selling author of The Six-Figure Quitter, which subtitle there, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Transitioning Out of Your 9-to-5 Without Regret. That's the big part right there. Danielle is a proud HBCU graduate, a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and an associate certified coach with credentials from ICF, International Coaching Federation. Put your hands together as we bring Danielle live on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Oh, we're so glad to have you. Wait a minute. I think I hear applause. I think they're cheering. I think, oh yeah. All right. We gotta do you right. All right. So we meet because of a cohort that we're in together. We're both scholars of the Goldman Sachs Black in Business program. So shout out there. And so you and I had a chance to actually meet in person, meet in the airport.
Yes.
And I love to bring that up because I don't meet everyone that I get a chance to interview. And so I was like, oh, I'd love to bring you on the show. And so before we even like dive deep in, I definitely want you to kind of walk us through your personal transition from like FBI analyst to full-time entrepreneur. Was there a tipping point, a catalyst? Tell us about it.
I love how you said FBI, the emphasis on the FBI, right? Like it's a
Right.
big deal.
Yeah.
And that's something that I took for granted somewhat when I was there because it was all that I knew. Like I grew up in the organization. And so I tell people that I had like a storied, like fairy tale FBI career, being a millennial in a traditionally, in an organization that is traditionally like more senior, like in age,
Mm-hmm.
white male special agent, and here I come, and none of the above, right? And we're gonna
Right.
little extra flavor along with it,
Little seasoning, little seasoning.
just a little bit, right? And so, what the experiences that I was afforded in my over a decade with the organization, they were just like out of this world. Like I could not have imagined having such a wealth of experience and variety of experience in my career, working in the same place in the same building for 12 years, but I saw so much and I did so much.
Wow.
And all of that was wonderful until I found myself hitting a wall that I have since dubbed the mid career crisis. And it's that point where, like, one day I woke up and I was just like, you know what? Who am I? How did I get here? And what is the quickest way for me to exit stage left without
Ooh,
turning my life upside down?
an awakening.
Yes, yes. And that just took me on a journey of exploring, like, well, what do I want? What do I want next? Like, what don't I like about this season, the space that I'm in now? Like, what's changed? And a lot of it was me. Like, I
Mm.
evolved as a human, as a woman, as a career professional. And I tell people, yes, ignorance can be blissful, right? What you
Yeah.
don't know, but wisdom can be painful. And so
Ooh.
that was the space that I was kind of in, just like I'm not new to it, I'm true to it. I know how these
Mm.
things should operate, how things should run. And when I'm in a space where certain decisions are being made above my pay grade and there's nothing I can do about it, all I
Mhm.
can do is remove myself and go create a space where I can do something about it. And so
Yeah.
that got me to thinking about, well, what is my purpose? What is my life's
Mm.
purpose? Like, this is so much bigger than me. And
Mhm.
what I want to understand is, like, what is it that I could possibly do with my life and career? Still make good money because now I'm making six figures, right? So I've crossed
Right.
the threshold, but still make six figures doing what I love,
Yeah.
making an impact, but also using some of my natural gifts and talents. I'm multifaceted, but there's some
Yeah.
things that I'm gifted in. And like, what are those things and what can I leverage in a different way to still be effective? Where even though there's challenges ahead, when I wake up in the morning, like it's something that makes me want to jump out the bed instead of
Oh,
peel
yeah.
myself out of the bed.
Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Thank you. You gave so much right there. I think that's so profound. Many of us are multifaceted, right? Many of us have this awakening, but there is a difference for those that move with it versus those that don't. And so, the six figure quitter, which like great title there. So what inspired you to actually write the book? So it's one thing to step out, but then say, oh, let me write a book about this.
One, so this is a part of my purpose assignment, and it's something that weighed on me for several years before I was able to literally birth this thing. But ultimately, what the book is what I needed back then when I was in that space of being at that crossroads and having my own personal mid-career crisis. It's
Right.
the tool, the resource, the permission that I had to give myself that I'm offering up to my reader, who's in that space now. Um, to do what's unprecedented, but to also go about it in a structured, strategic way instead of haphazard and in a way that you might have regrets.
Yeah, yeah. So how long has it been for you in this entrepreneurial journey?
So full time, I'm coming up on 6 years.
All right, all right.
Mhm.
Kudos to that.
Thank
I
you, thank
always,
you.
I always encourage entrepreneurs to kind of like celebrate that. Sometimes I'll hear entrepreneurs say, "Well, I only want to mention like how long I've been full time at milestones. 5 years, 10 years." But we are not promised the next second. Like we're not promised the next day.
Right.
Oh my goodness. And so, um, the biggest myths, that you feel people have and they believe about, quitting a 9 to 5 and becoming an entrepreneur. What are some of the myths that you hear out there?
Some of the myths that I hear. So one of them is that you'll replace your income right away.
Mm,
And that's like the big goal. That's the big vision, right? Especially for 6-figure earners, right? I just got to figure out how to replace my income. And sometimes, and there are some people that do it, and they do it relatively fast. But there are also different experiences and different setups that different people have that afford them that runway to be able to do it in what seems a quicker amount of time, right?
Yeah.
And there are others who, like me, now you couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to be making 7 figures in a year. Walking out of my good job, right? But people like me who I pivoted into an industry where at the time, nobody in my sphere of influence was talking about coaching, not a soul. I stumbled upon coaching doing the purpose work, going on my own my personal purpose journey. And then I announced to the world, hey, I'm applying to this program at Georgetown. I got into the program, go on this journey with me, right? Coach. Then I become Danielle the Coach. And so what I didn't realize, although my vision was grand, my vision was legit, and my heart was in the right place, that there was a whole lot of educating I was going to have to do to 4 people in my immediate sphere to make them even care about this thing that I knew could help them, but they weren't already thinking about, right? So that's an uphill kind of like battle that was waiting for me that I wasn't anticipating, because I knew how amazing coaching was. I had 30 other people in my certification course that knew. Doesn't everybody know what coaching is, right? Right. No, they don't. Right?
Spoiler alert.
So that's definitely one of them. Another myth is that you can't take the leap without everybody's approval.
Ooh, that's good.
And you absolutely can, right? Yes. And I know one of the things that holds people back is other people's opinions. And I know this is a kind of like a cliche saying, but it's very true. Yeah. God didn't give everybody the vision that he gave you. And so for some people, it makes sense that it doesn't make sense to them. It makes sense that your big, bold, audacious, hairy dream and vision that he's giving you scares them. He didn't give it to them. They're not equipped for that. But one of the things that I know, not having quit not just 1 6-figure job, but 2, and lived to tell about it.
And live to tell about it. That's the part.
That part, right? That part is that your faith will make believers out of other people.
Ooh. And so, because here's the thing, when you, and I had similar experience, leaving corporate America 2018, and I would say little things and then I stopped, because what I realized that I didn't want to allow someone else's fear to get on to me. So if I didn't have the fear about it, then I was telling people about it, like, oh, well, maybe this is not the time. Maybe you should wait. Maybe, Right. I cannot allow somebody else's fear to jump in to me. Ooh, this is good. This is good. If you're just joining us, we have Danielle Graves here with us, coach and best-selling author, and sharing her journey of transitioning. And she's the 6-figure quitter. And so if you are saying that this is the space I want to be in, I'm ready to go into entrepreneurship, you landed in the right place. And so in your book, you provide a guide for transitioning without regret. And I think that is really key, the without regret piece. And so talk to us about that, because probably some people got some regrets. Tell us about it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I call my blueprint the 7 Ps. The 7 Ps to transitioning out of your 9 to 5 without regret. And that came to me with hindsight being 2020, right? Like having done it, like I said, twice. And in the book, I talk about, I call both of my leaps, I call them leap 1 and leap 2. And so being on this side of it and looking back, it's just like, well, not only have I done it once, I did it twice, right? Like I lived to tell about it. And let me look at what some common threads and parallels were in each leap, right? Yeah. That can kind of paint a picture and tell a story, but it's also my personal blueprint, because there were some parallels and commonalities with each leap, although who I was as a person, as a woman, as a career professional was different in each season. But the phases that I moved through there were some similarities, but then in leap 2, the one that stuck, right? That stuck for 6 years now. There's more to the story. And that kind of like tacks on to the back end of the 7 Ps. And so why I say it positions you to be able to take the leap and transition out of your 9 to 5 without regret is because it forces you to, or it invites you. Let me say that, because you always get to choose.
Yeah.
It invites you to quiet your inner critic, to challenge your inner imposter, to put a pause on other people's opinions, and really get clear on who you are, what you are being called to do next, because you're being made to be uncomfortable in this season for a reason. You've probably already accomplished whatever your purpose assignment is where you are now that you were supposed to, and you're just comfortable and probably a little bit complacent too. So there is something bigger and grander and different that you're being called to, your next purpose assignment. But if you allow the haste and the rat race and other people's opinions and your inner critic and your inner imposter to continue to lead you, you'll be going nowhere fast. And while suffering from analysis paralysis. And so it forces you, it invites you to slow down, ask yourself some really introspective questions to get clear on what's next, get clear on who you are in this season, because who you were at some point prior to now, you're not that same person anymore. Like life and career happens to all of us in different ways that changes us, but also shapes us, but also gives us some amazing stories to tell. My own one, right? To kind of help and serve someone else in purpose.
Oh my goodness. Listen, I see you, Sonia. Fear didn't control your leap. I love that. That's good. And analysis paralysis. Thank you, Gwen. Thank you, Miss Smith. She's saying, "Come on, sis. Come on through there." And so that the piece about regret too, and everything that you just said to help people kind of think through this. There was a study that talked about regret. And a survey, and they surveyed some 20-year-olds, and then they surveyed, some 65, 70-year-olds about regret and asked them, what did they regret? 20-some-year-olds regretted, I did this at this party, or this got posted on social, or I failed this class. They regretted the things they did. 65, 70 plus regretted the things they did not do. I didn't start that business. I didn't try. I didn't write that book. And so, the conversation around like leaving a job, there are people like, don't tell people to do that. If somebody's like, I'm interested, first of all, I need to get your book. So let's tell them where to go to get the book.
Yes, you can get the book at thesixfigurequitter.com.
Great. There you go. And if you're listening to the podcast version, look down below in the show notes. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe to my channel. Look down below in the show notes. We have the link there. And the link is also over on Sharvette.com. Let me capture this comment from Sonia. Yes, ask those deeper questions that require you to sit in the power of pause. Sit in the power of pause. And so any crucial steps that you see that entrepreneurs or those that are leaping from employee to entrepreneur, critical steps that you see people make, or one critical step that you see that they're misstepping or mismaking?
Yeah. Sonia, have you read the book? Because I feel like Sonia has read the book with that last comment that she made.
Sonia, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the chat.
It's the power of the pause. And that's actually a chapter in the book. And why I say that is a crucial step that most people make is because, one, when you're in that space of discomfort and frustration and being jaded and overwhelmed, you want a fix now. You're ready to get out of the discomfort now. And so a six-figure quitter is a high achiever. They're a high performer. They're a problem solver. They're a fixer. But they're in this space of not being able to fix their own problem as swiftly as they can do everybody else's. And that's a big part of where the discomfort is coming from, right? Why am I still having this internal conversation? Why am I still talking to God about this thing, right? And so because I know that is like the MO for a typical six-figure quitter, my first recommendation is to pause. Let go of the control, let go of the angst, let go of the doing, let go of the searching, let go of the questioning. You need a pattern interrupt. do something that brings you joy. And I'm talking about the thing or the things. It could be something that's on your never-ending like to-do list, I'm gonna get to it list, or
Uh-huh.
rainy day list. Some people even have it on a quote-unquote bucket list, which I personally
Mhm.
don't believe in. I believe in turning that list upside down and prioritizing those things now.
Yeah.
Doing a thing or some things that cause you, even for just a short amount of time, to forget about your reality. And it's those
Mhm.
things that you can engage in where you're at peace, you're having fun, you're totally entranced. And then when it's over, you're like, oh dag, I still got to solve that problem. Like, involve yourself, engage in that type of activity that brings and
That's good.
fosters joy. And why I say that is because when you are able to detach
Mhm.
from anything, that is when you stand in your power, because you're releasing your control,
Mhm.
you're exercising true faith in a higher power that's working it out while your hands are tied, your attention is distracted, and then
Yeah.
you come back with a sense of clarity because
Mm.
you allowed your brain to focus on something else for just a short time.
Yeah.
And then you come back with fresh eyes and you begin to notice things that were in your face the whole time, but you couldn't see them because it was so
Mm.
clouded from everything else that you were trying to figure out.
Wow. So you just brought up faith. And so I'd love to hear how faith had, played a role, mindset, and even community, faith, mindset, and community, how that played a role in your transition from employee to entrepreneur.
Faith was the tipping point for me. And here's why I say that, because people often ask me, now that I've created like this lane for myself and I have the book, I'm this authority on leaving your 9 to 5 without regret, right? But more specifically, transitioning into full-time entrepreneurship. So a question that I'll get often is, well, like, how do you know when's the right time, right? And
Uh-huh.
there's no cookie cutter experience. Like, I have my blueprint, but my blueprint invites you to get true to who you are and do things your way, your time, and on your time, right? And
Hmm.
so when I say my answer to like when is the right time or when do you know, my answer is always when your faith outweighs your fear.
Ooh.
And that's
Y'all
exactly
need to
what it
wait a
was
minute,
for me.
marinate on that. Marinate on that. Marinate on that. And if I could reach over on my so this is a quote, my own quote. You only need 51% confidence over 49% fear. So she said outweigh. That doesn't mean fear is absent. You just need a little bit more, a few more inches, a few more ounces more of confidence over the fear.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's it right there. Sonia said no, but she's getting the book today. She's gonna get it today. She's gonna get it today. And her other comment: when you can detach, it doesn't hold you from growing and making shifts. Thank you. Yes, Miss Smith. Faith, mindset, and community. That's good. When you can't, yes, I got you, Sonia. When you can't, and I see Pastor Kathleen's comment. So true. I can identify with the six-figure quitter. There you go. There you go. There you go. Both are good. Both are good. Both are good. And so finances, that comes up as like, okay, can we, let's talk about the money in this sense. So
Yeah.
what financial advice do you give for those, that are wanting to transition into full-time entrepreneurship?
I highly recommend getting with enlisting the eyes and the support of a financial advisor.
Yeah.
And the point is for you to take the fear, the financial fear, the
Yeah.
financial insecurity away from this part of your experience and
Mm,
really get clear about what your financial runway really looks like.
that's
Because
good.
the lifestyle that you've probably afforded yourself as a six-figure earner, six-figure plus earner, there's probably a lot of like disposable income, right? But then,
Mm-hmm.
and what we don't focus on at that point in time is like, well, how much do I really need to live, right? As
Yeah.
opposed to maintaining my exact lifestyle on day one of my leap, right?
Right.
Because if you need that, you might need to stay a little longer, right?
Right.
You're honest with yourself and you say, you know what? Well, here's what I need. This is what I'm used to versus what I need.
Yeah.
Then it paints a different picture and also sets you up to manage your expectations about how at least the ramp up might look or can look. And you might be able to, chuck those deuces a little bit sooner, if you're honest about what your financial or your finances really look like. And the second thing when it comes to finances that I would recommend is really beginning to shine a light on, I say a spotlight on your relationship with money. Here's why I say that. It's something that I personally had to work through several years into my full-time entrepreneurship journey, but I didn't realize how much my identity was wrapped into my salary. And it caused me to have like an identity crisis because I wasn't quite making what I wanted to make yet. So I started to feel like I didn't matter. I wasn't as valuable as I was when I was working for somebody else. Not realizing that it was all a warped perspective around money and that my personal value is not tied to money, but my self-value is tied to the money that I can make. And so there was some reworking and just some mindset work that I've had to do. And this is coming from somebody who was super financially savvy.
Yeah.
I left the FBI, I had $60,000 in savings.
Yeah.
And other resources, right? So it wasn't like I didn't have seemingly control over my finances, but I was so tied to it identity-wise. That when the frame shifted just a little bit and temporarily, I began to question like my worth, and it was a thing.
And I would say any service-based provider, like anyone going into transitioning from entrepreneurship into service product as well, but more so for service, I don't think we talk enough about that piece, that the worthiness piece and the connection and the rejection that's involved in sales and putting yourself out there and the fear of visibility and all of that. That's why I'm a proponent of, listen, if you think about leaving, you need to start doing some work. You need to start working on your business, working on your brand, working on all that while you have a job. And then the ramp and the runway is a little bit tighter. Yes. So for those that are looking for the book, the www.thesixfigurequitter.com. Thank you for asking for the link. The sixfigurequitter.com is it. Yes, we're saying true. Yes, great point. Amen. Coming in on in the comments here. So that's really, really very powerful and valid. And so how can, tell us about the work that you're doing? How can organizations hire you, people hire you? Tell us, about that.
Yeah, sure. So for individuals, those who are aspiring six-figure quitters, I have something for you, as well as those who are who've already taken the leap. So I have an offering where I support you with planning your six-figure pivot. And we can work intimately on that to get you not only the clarity, but the confidence to do something about what you're now clear on as you ramp up and put all of the things in place and all of the things in motion, and working with someone who is not speaking to you from theory. Like I've done this thing twice, right? And made believers, and now have authored a book about it, right? So then there's that part of it, but then there's also like the what's next. So when you take the leap, then what? That's a whole nother experience that probably requires a whole nother book, right? So like life after the leap. And so that's my offering for those that have already taken the leap, whether you worked with me pre-leap or not. Like once you take the leap into the full-time entrepreneurship space, like it is a realm of unlimited and untapped possibility, but it's also seemingly a scary place to be when you don't have the right support, when you don't have the right accountability to reassure you in those moments when the money isn't coming in, rapidly or ad nauseum. Those moments when you begin to doubt yourself. Those moments when you think about, or you might even pull up their resume and try to dust it off real quick. Those moments when you just need a sounding board. You need to be able to share whatever's coming up for you, to process it, and work and move through it so that you can keep going and bring the vision that God gave you to life. Like, the inner imposter is not going anywhere. I'm sorry to spoil this for you. The inner critic isn't going anywhere. Other people's opinions aren't going anywhere. What you're solving for is just changing now, and you're the boss. So that requires a whole different set of emotional intelligence, a whole other set of discipline, leadership, all of the things. And so I support you with life after the leap. And organizations that are interested in working with me, they bring me in to speak to entrepreneurs, other groups from a motivational, inspirational mindset piece. One of my signature keynotes is the art of choosing you. I think I have a PhD in that at this point. Or can work with me in that way as well.
All right, wonderful. And where or how should they contact and connect with you?
Oh, good question. So for individuals, you can go to www.daniellethecoach.com/apply and book a complimentary strategy session and just complete that form. And then I'll put some time on my calendar and we will chop it up. I'll see what you got going on. And if I feel like I can support you, then we'll talk about that. And if not, then I'll offer you up some resources that I think would best support you with whatever you have going on right now. Organizations, they can also go to DanielleTheCoach.com, or they can email me at dg@DanielleTheCoach.com.
All right, wonderful. And again, look down below in the show notes, wherever you are watching or listening. And yes, my good girlfriend, sister friends, Lady Joy Sawyer, Life After the Leap. Yeah, Life After the Leap. That's it right there. And then thank you, Sonia. The book. So one more time, let us know how people can pick up the book, all the formats that it is available in as well.
Yes. So go to thesixfigurequitter.com. That's where you can get a paperback version. If you would like the ebook, that is available on Amazon.
All right, there you go. Thank you, Miss Smith. She said, I just subscribed to you both. Thank you. We're glad to have you. Always glad to have new connections and the like. And so what is next for you? The goal of this show is to motivate, excite, and influence. And oh my goodness, I'm over time. What continues to motivate Danielle the Coach, and what's next for you?
It's the feedback that I get from those that engage in any of the content or enlist my support and accountability on their journey. Just like seeing their wildest dreams come true in like record time. That is what charges the battery in my back and keeps me continuing to show up, even in seasons where my inner imposter, my inner critic creeps up and just like, yeah, why are you doing this? And then the most miraculous thing will happen. And it's just like, well, that's why. Let me get back to it.
Yeah. So well said. Well, thank you so much look, Sonia said, I got mine from Amazon. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you. And for all those that will be checking this out later, it has been a pleasure chatting with you. It was great to meet you officially in the airport, Richmond Airport, and to be on this scholar journey with you. But thank you so much for stopping by the show and just being a part of, everything and just doing dynamic and amazing things.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, listeners, viewers, it is a wrap. Thank you so much for being here with us again. If you are checking this out on YouTube now or later, subscribe to our channel. And that way you won't miss any of our broadcasts that are coming out. And certainly if you listen to the podcast, subscribe as well. Just don't hang out, subscribe so we can make sure that you get all of the notifications. Thank you so much for all that are here and hanging out with us. It's a wrap. We're going to see you all later on the web. I'm Sharvette Mitchell, CEO of Mitchell Productions. We are a marketing and professional development firm, the host of the Sharvette Mitchell radio show. I want to see you in Richmond, Virginia for the Platform Builders Summit that is coming November 7th and 8th. Information is at sharvette.com or look down below in the show notes, platformbuildersummit.com. We'll see you all later. Bye.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you've been listening to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Get Sharvette Mitchell every Tuesday at 6 p.m., interviewing all the stars you want to hear from. So until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. This is the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.